What's up, guys? So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about the time where I actually worked and worked out in the gym in California where Milos Sarcev and professional bodybuilder Shawn trained every day. So at the time, I didn't even know shit about bodybuilding. Only when I went to prison, I started reading, fitness magazines, Flex magazine, and started passing time by learning about some of this stuff and becoming familiar with the people involved. But at that time, I had no fucking idea anything about it. I had no interest in it. I had no clue who these guys were. I knew they were pro bodybuilders, but that was it. I didn't give a fuck. But I did observe how they trained. So they were training partners, and they used to train twice a day, and it looked like they trained for like 6 days a week. And they never trained very heavy. That was one of the things I noticed. At that time, I was very fucking strong. And I remember me and my friend Irv, who was the manager of the gym, we were repping like 405 on the bench for like 8 to 10. And they never lifted that heavy at that time. I never saw them do it. They may have done it, but everything they did was very concentrated in slow efforts. And it looked like it was very effective, the way they worked. But these guys worked hard and they ate very, very clean. So they were very strict about what they did. I also know, because I was in that scene at the time, that obviously these guys all take steroids. Almost everybody in that entire gym was taking steroids, including myself. So I was taking Sustanon at the time and some Deca or something. But I think that also helped me become a little stronger than I was before. But these guys were all on shit, all the time, basically. So one of the other things I observed there was that, these guys did a lot of cardio also, especially Shawn Ray. He'd be on this step machine every day. I go in there, he'd be on there. And not to speak bad about this guy, because I don't like to talk bad about anybody in general, but he and I actually had a little words one day. I never liked him because I thought he was hot shit. I didn't give a fuck who he was. He just walked around like he was fucking hot shit and this tough guy and shit, and I was never like that. I was of the mindset that I don't give a fuck how big you are. That means nothing. It's a disadvantage to you. And when we had those words, my friend Irv actually intervened, but I remember telling Shawn Ray that we can go outside right now and I will beat the fuck out of you. And he turned away and walked back into the gym. So Shawn Ray didn't want nothing to do with it. And again, I'm not saying this to try to belittle the man, but he did act like an asshole. He was very arrogant, and I didn't like that. A lot of other people felt the same way about him at the time. The other guy, Milos, was a very, very solid guy, gentleman, always helpful. If anyone asked him anything, very cool. I knew his wife also, so these were cool people there. But something I wanted to touch on was the thing about fake weights. So I noticed now there's a lot of people on Instagram, on YouTube, putting up shit with fake weights, and a lot of people are making videos discussing whether or not these are real plates or fake. And I will tell you guys that going back 15 years when this occurred, okay, they had a little closet that was locked all the time with one guy that had access to it. I knew the guy. He worked at the gym, and he was a friend of mine, and he was the only one that was allowed to get these fake weights. So he would go in there and bring them out for these photo shoots. At that time, this gym had a contract with Flex magazine where they were doing most or all of their photo shoots there. So as a result, I met a lot of pro bodybuilders as well. I met Ronnie Coleman. I met Kevin Levroni. I met Jay Cutler. I met Flex Wheeler. A lot of these guys. And a lot of other guys that I didn't even know. And again, keep in mind that back then I had no idea who the fuck these guys were. They were just huge fucking bodybuilders. So I talked to them in passing and whatever, but I really didn't care. I think if I'd met these people now and had the opportunity to be in that environment now, I'd appreciate it much more because I follow this stuff and I'm much more aware of bodybuilding and what great things these men actually accomplished in the sport. So going back to the fake weights, no one was allowed to touch them. The guy I was obviously friends with would tell me, and the whole thing, they weighed about 17 pounds, if I remember. He told me each 45-pound plate was 17 pounds, and they used them for all of the photo shoots. So just imagine, and they were doing this for years prior to me even getting there. So this is something that's been going on for decades. So it's not something that's new. So for those of you out there that are, questioning whether or not things are or aren't, or whether or not people could actually take fake plates into a gym and use them for pictures, of course they could. Of course they could. This has been being done for so long now. It's nothing unusual. So that's basically it, guys. That was my experience there. It was during a crazy time in my life. I was fucking out of my mind, waiting to go to prison on bail for multiple things. And I just wanted to share with you what my experience there was like. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.